Alright, so let's enter the cage. And we're looking at Matchstick Men, starring Nicolas Cage, Sam Rockwell, and Alison Lohman. It is a story about a man with severe OCD and Tourette's who connects with his long-lost daughter. Phrase that. A con man with severe OCD and Tourette's who connects with his long-lost daughter and also tries to run a long con on a guy. Excuse me. Need deodorant. I'm going to put on my shower. Sorry. And things don't go as they expect. So, Nicolas Cage plays Roy. He's this guy, he's got severe OCD, severe Tourette's. Like, I don't know if you know, sometimes when I'm doing reviews, I'll wink my eye or something like that. I have Tourette's. It's a tick. You can get an eye, and sometimes I'll shake my head like that. Yeah, that's what it is. I have the, that kind of Tourette's. Not the shit fucked up, Tourette's. Just the, the facial tick thing. Not as bad as him. He's going 100 miles an hour with those things. And his OCD, he has to open the door 1, 2, 3. As he answers the door, shuts the door, stuff like that. He has to do that. Really, really, really bad OCD. And he's a con man. His partner's name is Frank, I think. And played by Sam Rockwell. And, yeah, they work together conning people. And Frank, he suggests sending Roy to a psychiatrist, shrink, to get some help. The psychiatrist gives him some stuff, some medicine to help with his, problem. And he also talks to him, and we find out that 14 years earlier, or so, 15 some odd years, it had to be about 15, I think. He and his wife, he had a wife, they had an argument, he gave her a black eye, she left him, and she was pregnant, 2 months pregnant, I think. And so the psychiatrist encourages him to, reconnect with the daughter, but he's too nervous to do it. He tries and he can't get a hold of the number. Which, once you find out there's a twist in this film that I didn't see coming, and once you find out the twist, it's kind of lucky that it went this way. So he tells the psychiatrist, you call. And so we get the girl, meets the girl. He has a daughter, a 14-year-old daughter named Angela, and played by Alison Lohman. And generally, in these scenes with Cage and Lohman, they do a really good job together. You can really tell that they can be like a father and daughter type thing. There's all this happiness convinces Frank to do a long con on this guy. I don't remember the guy's name. So they pull this long con, and they get the daughter involved because the daughter wants to get involved. The long con goes south, though. So they make the deal. They swap the briefcase with the other bag, and he takes off. But they have the daughter distract people, swap bags, and yeah. And so, but the guy, played by Bruce McGill, he figures out what's going on, and he goes after him. Now, Frank disappears at this point. Like he's, hey, I tried to walk him there with security, And then, he's having happy times with his daughter. He takes her bowling, go out to dinner. He comes home, and that's when the guy is there, and Chuck is his name. Chuck is there, and he's got a severely beaten up Frank, and he says, "Hey, you screwed me over. I want the money. I don't have the money." He says, Roy says, and so he tells her, "Oh, go get the money I have in the dog." And she comes out with a gun, and she shoots Chuck, I think. Because there's some questions I gotta ask after this. She shoots Chuck, and then, Roy panics. He tells them to get out of there, go to a hotel, or whatever, and he'll take care of Chuck's body. He goes in, Chuck is not there, and he jumps out and he punches him, and Roy wakes up in a hospital, what appears to be a hospital, with 2 cops talking to him, trying to question him. He says, "Call my shrink. I want to talk to him." They bring him in, and he tells him, he covers his mouth, telling him, everything to do with his safe or whatever. And then he passes out. And when he wakes up, sweating and everything, and he's like, "Hey," he turns down. He's not handcuffed anymore, which doesn't seem to bother him. He gets up, he looks around, he finds out he's on top of a building somewhere, and he's been played. Frank is no longer in his office, and he goes home. His money's missing. He goes to the bank. That's gone. Nothing in there except for maybe a small amount of $100 bills, I think. And when he visits his ex-wife, he finds out that she actually had a miscarriage. So there was no Angela. So before I get to the end of this film, let's recap. He's been conned this entire time. At some point, there's a hint towards this that I didn't mention. When he tries to get prescription meds, the medication he was taking, he tries to get more, but his doctor, his psychiatrist, is not available. So he goes to the pharmacy to try to get the medication, and when he shows what the pills look like, they say it's a supplement, and they point him to the aisle, and it's for menopause. He's been taking placebos this entire time. It's a supplement. He was never taking any kind of medication for his problems. It was a placebo. That right there should have been his first clue, and it should have been mine, because I'm like, it's a placebo, right? He's just trying to help him. It was really him spending time with his daughter that helped him out, and I was like, okay, that's a great sentiment. But then we get this twist that Frank was conning him the entire time for the money, right? But there's more involved. There's Frank, there's a psychiatrist, there's Angela, and there's the 2 cops that have to be fake as well. In on it as well. I love it. I love that twist. I didn't expect it. I'm like, so he's gonna. I thought it was gonna end with him going to jail, to be honest. But when he wakes up and they weren't answering, I'm like, huh? And he opens it and he's coming through. He's looking around. It's on a building. I'm like, wait, what? Was he being conned? Yes, he was. We cut 2 years later. He now owns a furniture store or a rug store, carpet store. And in walks Marty from Cabin in the Woods, which is that's what I did. I'm like, Marty! Because he's Marty from Cabin in the Woods. He walks in, he's like, I'm looking for a carpet because you got a dog. What kind of carpets go with dogs? He goes, well, what kind of price range are you looking for? He's like, something cheap. And, oh, yeah, you need one of these ones in the back. I'll take you there. He goes, hold on, my girlfriend knows more about carpets than me. He goes, hey, babe, or sweetie, or something like that. And it's her. So, and I guess, I didn't catch on it because they say she's 14, right? And I calculated how old Alison Lohman was here. She was 24. And I'm like, oh, yeah, they have older actresses play younger, but 14. Turns out, she wasn't actually 14. They never say her actual age, but they imply that she's actually older than she was. At this point, she has dark hair. She's dressed older. She got, lifted up and no braces like she did. But, yeah. And so she tells Marty, I'm keep calling it, to go get her wallet from the car, and they talk. And, yeah. And so it turns out Frank took all the money. He didn't give her a haircut. So he just leaves Ball either way. And so now she's clean, and she actually is living with Marty. They're together, and she calls him Dad when she says goodbye. So it's really and then we see him go home. He doesn't do the door thing 3 times. And I was like, hey, he didn't do the thing. Turns out he's married to the grocery lady, grocery store clerk lady from earlier in the film. We see her a couple times. She's married, and they're married, and she's pregnant, which is cool. She's gonna have his own child. That is a kind of a happy ending type thing. And he sort of has a daughter, and Angela, because he's like, well, she's like, you never told me your name, and he's like, well, I know your name, like, Okay, so before I give you my rating, again, I want to stress how many people were involved in this, because there's something I forgot here. So, we have Frank, the 2 cops, 2 fake cops, and the psychiatrist, and Angela. What about Chuck? Was he part of the con, or just another victim? Because she could have easily had blanks in that gun. And he gets shot, and he knocks him out, because you think he would have had to have been in on it to knock Roy out, so they take him there, unless they were waiting for him to knock him out. Because if Chuck wasn't involved, what if Chuck just killed him? Chuck had to be involved. And if he wasn't involved, the only thing I can think of is that Frank, when he went to follow him, said, hey, your money's not in there. Hey, that, empty. I don't know. It never specifies, if he was involved or anything. They say he's dead. But, I don't know. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed this movie. The twist really got me. Wasn't expecting it. So, yeah, this is another good Nicolas Cage movie. I really enjoyed it. They got another Nicolas Cage movie on HBO Max, which is how I watch this. I may check it out, I may not. It's Bangkok Dangerous. I kind of need to put it on the list to watch, and, it's easier to watch it on there than to buy it. But, we'll see where my journey takes me in the next couple of days. So, what are your thoughts on Matchstick, man? Leave some comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.